In Solo Leveling sequel, Sung Jin Woo has become the strongest in his universe. However, even more busted gods known as the Itarim race have invaded to steal his throne. So for the past 5 years, Jin Woo left Earth to lead this multiversal war. These outer gods are so strong that they can create their own pocket universes to control. That's why Jin Woo will need a teammate, someone who has the potential to stand equal to him and even surpass him in the future. I am talking about the descendant of the Shadow Monarch, Sung Suho, whose achievements in the recent chapters of the Ragnarok light novel have just massively given his father an upper hand in the multiversal war. But this battle didn't just start out of nowhere, as even after Jin Woo defeated the Monarch of Destruction Antares and reset the timeline where everyone lives again, there was still darkness lurking in the world. So instead of fighting godly dragons or orcs, Jin Woo joined the police and became a detective, while also marrying a gold medalist Olympic athlete named Cha-Ain. As a detective, Jin Woo was named Ghost due to him often disappearing and catching so many criminals that this man's arrest rate was 200%. How is that even possible? It is possible because bro not only solved his own cases, but even cold ones. You can't with this guy. Jin Woo's disappearances, however, were actually him slipping away to engage in battles with unseen Itarim threats, as even before the world officially awakened to magic or dungeons in Ragnarok, which would be known as the Cataclysm, a few threats still popped up due to the barriers between the different dimensions becoming unstable. But I will explain everything Itarim related video. Coming back to Jin Woo though, even with all his accolades as a detective, he refused promotions every time, just so he could stay in the field and continue catching criminals personally. Jin Woo might have not taken the promotions, but his boss Jin Chol definitely did. And yes, this is the same Jin Chol who was the vice chairman and later chairman of the Hunter Association in the OG timeline of Solo Leveling. He was not only a high-ranking officer, but also Jin Woo's closest friend. By being so close to Jin Woo and his position as an A-rank hunter in the past timeline, Woo Jin Chol would be one of the only people on Earth other than Cha-Ain to unlock his memories from the previous timeline. Jin Woo attempted to erase his memories, but Jin Chol would keep regaining them as they had become a part of his soul. So instead, he became a valuable asset to our boy, since even when he missed work to go fight the Itarims and their spawns, Jin Chol could cover for him. While Jin Woo wasn't catching criminals or fighting otherworldly threats, he also made time to spread his seed inside Cha-Ain. However, as Cha became pregnant, there was a serious problem. The child of the greatest aura farmer started to farm so much aura as a literal fetus that Cha-Ain's battery started to run low.
Well, luckily Ugreen's got you and Cha-Ain covered with their insane charging gear, and this drop is Genshin Impact Kinich themed. So let's check it out. First of all, this packaging goes hard. Shout out Ugreen for that, because everything in this box is perfect for anime, manga, and obviously Genshin. Don't lie, I know you've played this game before, it's one of the most played of the modern era. And so Ugreen teaming up with them actually just goes to show the top tier quality products you can expect from them. Straight off the bat, we can see that it features Genshin's signature pixel art style, which is the best art style. Even inside the box has like hidden elemental motifs for the game. It makes it feel like I'm unboxing some kind of like 5-star drop IRL. It's pretty damn sick. But this is what I wanted to talk about mostly, alright? The Nexode power bank. With it, you can charge your phone, laptop, and Switch all at once. The smart display even shows your battery stats, and when you turn it on, boom, you got this cool pixel animation of Kinich's dragon companion, Ajol. There's also this really cool 2-in-1 magnetic power bank, and if we take a look at the hidden second layer, we got even more goodies. You got a lanyard. Listen, trust me, this is a tip in life. You can't go wrong with too many lanyards. And also, there's this really cool bag. I mean, if you got a power bank, you're probably going to be traveling, and this bag is perfection for that. And then, yeah, loads of other really cool goodies. But I've not even told you the best part, alright? Spend £16 or more on Ugreen Store or Amazon, and you could win one of 100 limited edition Kinich gift boxes. Yep, one of these bad boys for yourself. And so hit the link in the description, and hopefully Cha-Ain's doing better now.
She will be, Harrison, as her human body could not withstand the power of the child growing inside of her. Since Suho being the heir of the Shadow Monarch carried so much aura that it started to physically basically tear Cha-hae apart. Luckily, Jinwoo was already aware of the danger and used a special magical barrier to restore his Pookie's vessel and suppress his son's energy. It was only through the goat's constant reinforcement that she could give birth, and this birth was legendary, as when Suho's powers manifested, he began flying around the house before even walking due to inheriting ruler's authority from his dad. Despite his spiritual origin though, Suho's parents raised him in a peaceful and ordinary environment. He was slightly stronger than average children, but Jinwoo and Cha-hae intentionally wanted him to grow up human first, not as a demigod. Even still, Jinwoo trained his boy in secret, where throughout his childhood he was tasked with climbing the shadow dungeon, facing many of the Shadow Monarch's shadows like Beru or Tusk. In this journey, Kid Suho would unlock many of his father's staple abilities like shadow extraction or shadow exchange. However, Jinwoo sealed his son's powers and removed his memories of these battles because he wanted his son to have a normal life until the world needed him. Through his teen years, Suho started to become very interested in art, as he would often draw ants from his dreams since those memories would resurface now and then. Unfortunately though, on the 16th anniversary of Jinwoo x Cha-hae, a tragedy would occur. Initially, it was a peaceful romantic moment. Jinwoo gifted his Pookie a special necklace crafted by dwarves, filled with enchantments including a translation spell so she could communicate with shadow soldiers and others. They were flying together on Kaisel, enjoying the sky, but then Jinwoo sensed an ominous threat. A massive dimensional rift was beginning to manifest, marking the beginning of the Itarim War, as the apostles had began to invade. Just before the chaos fully erupted, Jinwoo told Cha-hae to return home first, that he would follow right back. However, Cha-hae wouldn't make it home and Jinwoo couldn't return. I will expand on what the hell happened to them later in the video, as with their disappearance, Jinwoo's best friend, Jinho, who has married Junha after the events of Sister Leveling, would start a worldwide manhunt to no avail. Yet Woo Jin-chul, having his memories from the first timeline restored, knew what Jinwoo's long absence meant, that Earth would be facing a new threat and things would really kick into high gear 3 years later when the Cataclysm happened. This event is when people started to awaken as hunters and gates began to appear. Now, if you're wondering, since the ruler war is over, who is creating these gates? Well, in Ragnarok, the gates are a result of the outer gods trying to break the barriers between the universes to invade Earth and Jinwoo's universe. Think of a dungeon as a dot. When 2 gates are broken, they connect into a line. 3 or more become a plane. That's when a full-fledged gate which leads to the void is created, which would allow the Itarims easier access to Earth. The ultimate goal of the Itarims is to spread these gates around Earth and eventually create a supermassive rift that connects directly to the outer multiverse. In the original Solo Leveling timeline, when the gates first appear, it took the world years to adapt to them, where countries and states were decimated out of nowhere. An example being the entire west coast of America being destroyed by the S-rank Kamishke. However, in Ragnarok, one man is to thank for Earth being so well prepared against this threat: Woo Jin-chul. After the Cataclysm, hunters who were capable of using mana started to resonate with the gates, causing awakenings, but the first to awaken was Jin-chul, likely due to his memories being intact and proximity to Jinwoo. In his time as police chief, bro was compiling a whole list of politicians doing sus-ass stuff like going to the Diddy party or doing corruption. With those in hand, he made unannounced visits to powerful ministers, prosecutors, and government officials to get what he wanted. Using his A-rank skills, bro went to the minister's office, knocked out all the guards, and basically said, "Listen to me on all hunter matters or I'll leak everything." Bro went to the fucking Blue House, which is like the White House of Korea, to do this, alright? Thanks to these intimidation sessions, political parties from both sides caved in immediately, granting Jin-chul everything he asked for, including legal authority and resources to form the Hunter Association. With his knowledge of the past Awakeners, Jin-chul knew who had the potential to be S-rankers or potential to be criminals, so he personally hired Choi Jung-in, Korea's ultimate S-rank hunter, Hunter and Baek Yun-ho. He also drafted the Villain Punishment Act, a law that allowed awakened criminals to be punished without normal judicial process. Realizing that awakened criminals would be inevitable, Woo Jin-chol also created a special prison facility, Jisan Prison, designed specifically to contain dangerous awakeners, especially those whose powers were volatile or who committed crimes with magic. Another person who helped the Hunters Association massively was Jinwoo's brother-in-law, Jinho, and his company Ajin Soft, who specialized in VR and video games, where they wanted to create the first hunter training simulation tech. Plus, Jinho had a deep inclination to help out, likely due to being influenced by his other timeline memories which hadn't awakened yet. Now, I'm going to delve into the story of Suho and his progress as a hunter. But before I begin, I want to say that the Ragnarok manhwa, which has like 44 chapters at the time of my recording, has taken a different direction to where the light novel goes, which is at chapter 316 right now. This video, I will be explaining the entire story of the light novel, which the manhwa will be loosely based on, as they aren't changing things entirely. For example, we see an apostle named Teal appear in the story, while in the light novel, we don't witness an apostle until like the ice dungeon. All of you asking where to read the light novel, just Google it, bruh. Solo Leveling Ragnarok light novel. It pops up. It's like the first few links, bruh. 2 years after the Cataclysm, there is a great turning point in the Itarim, as an overlooked area of Earth's defenses gets breached and a new type of gate filled with creatures known as mistburns are released. These things are like mana zombies which can infect and turn others into more mistburns. So Jinwoo dispatches one of his strongest shadow, Beru the Ant King, to Earth so that his son could finally be awakened and help defend it. However, while every hunter was busy joining raids or battling mana beasts, Sung Suho was going through art school. But everything changed when one day a mistburn gate opens at Suho's school, as one of the students breathes in the blue mist of the dungeon, and then he turns into a mistburn rapidly and starts infecting everyone else. Panic ensues, and Suho's teaching assistant Lim Do-gyun is the only hunter present. But since he's in E rank, bro just yeets out of there. However, Suho, being part of the Sung lineage, can't just leave innocents to die, so even without an awakening, bro jumps into the fight, leaving time for the other students to escape. Surrounded by mistburns, Suho himself starts to become infected. However, instead of transforming, his inner shadow awakens, absorbing and eliminating the mistburn attacking him, resulting in the birth of a new hunter. As Suho starts to receive weird system messages, turns out he completed a hidden quest called Courage of the Helpless, which Jinwoo himself completed during the double dungeon raid. Meaning, just like his father, Suho is now a player. The OG system made by Kandiaru was created with the sole purpose of preparing a human vessel for the Shadow Monarch Ashborn. It was only after Jinwoo got to that level did the architect realize he had been betrayed and that its true purpose was to groom Jinwoo into Ashborn's successor. Suho's system has a completely different objective though. While he has Shadow Monarch ability, Suho was never intended to become his father's heir. Instead, it was to train Suho into his dad's equal and eventually the next Monarch of Destruction. With this established, it also means that Suho's fighting style is completely different from his dad's. I mean, bro uses gauntlets as his main weapon as opposed to Jinwoo's dual daggers. After saving the day at his college, Beru finally makes it back to Earth and starts glazing Suho for awakening his true strength without his help. Also, Beru is severely weakened because to traverse such a large distance from where he came, crossing multiple universes and dimensions, Beru's connection to Jinwoo is very low, so he can't just recuperate his lost mana instantly, so bro is chibified and weak as hell. From there, he gives Suho the rundown about the Itarims, his father, and that he's here to help train him. Suho for all purposes might be a god, but he still misses his parents and vows to become strong and learn all he can about the Itarims and their apostles to reunite with them. But first, he needs to find his mother. In order to do this, he needs to boost his strength. Beru then leads Suho into the Shadow Dungeon, the land of the dead controlled by Jinwoo, so he can get the hang of his new abilities. This includes gaining the power to extract shadows from pretty much the get-go, as the young monarch kills some goblins and makes them members of his shadow army. Army might be a stretch though. It's more like a shadow group, as Suho doesn't have unlimited shadow storage like his dad right now, and his shadows also disappear after a day. Bro is like level 1, but give him a break. After this, Suho decides to join a raid team as a miner in order to look at what a raid on a dungeon looks like. At this point, he's registered as an E rank and was able to get the job due to his friend from the University of Arts, who already can tell Suho is BSing everyone with his E rank due to having summons. But it is what it is. Bro got the mining job. That's what matters. But that's not what's important though, as this dungeon is a sanctuary of the Fang Monarch Rakan, King of the Beasts. Inside lies a sword that possesses one of the hunters on the raid team, leading to pretty much most of the raid team dying and forcing Suho to fight the possessed hunter. This sword is the Fang of Rakan, a blade instilled with the part of the consciousness of the former Beast Monarch, and any human who tries to possess it will become overwhelmed by its power and be turned. But for our young monarch, this is nothing, as Suho utilizes his shadows in a never before seen way, combining his shadow gloves with his body to create extremely powerful gauntlets, decimating the possessed human. And after winning the fight, he even claims the sword for himself due to him having the power to withstand its might. The Fang of Rakan is shocked by this, but Suho makes a deal with the sword that he gets to use it in exchange for seeking out the other Beast Monarch sanctuaries, as the sword is searching for something extremely important. And that something is found in none other than a field dungeon owned by the Hyena Guild, which was being used for human trafficking. Suho quickly takes care of that and finds what was really being kept there, a baby wolf. This wolf is actually the descendant of the Beast King, his successor and heir. Unfortunately, he's been tortured in this dungeon by his former protector, a hyena beast named Brokey. He's been feeding off his blood in order to become stronger. He was given the task of protecting the baby wolf during the OG war, as Rakan wanted his offspring to survive and carry on his legacy. Brokey was one of his most loyal servants, so why the heck is he now feeding off this dude's blood?
Why are you doing that, you freak?
Well, he's been infected by one of the Itarim's apostles, making him believe his former master was weak, and in that sense, Brokey survived the war, so he's naturally stronger and should become the next monarch himself, right? That's facts.
That is a fact.
Brokey is on an entirely different level than anything Suho has faced up until this point, with the Fang of Rakan even being broken due to its power. But at this moment, the system asks Suho if he wants the baby wolf to become his companion, a unique feature given to him by his father Jinwoo. And with that, the Fang of Rakan transfers the rest of his power to Rakan's heir, transforming him into a full-grown wolf, who's now a member of Suho's party. Together, they take on Brokey, even activating a fusion skill which turns Suho's hair white and his eyes yellow. Together, they're able to kill Brokey and free him from the Apostle's control. It's here where Suho receives his first goal from the system, to seek out the other Monarch heirs. After doing some grinding with a wolf, whom he names Gray, in the Shadow Dungeon, Suho receives another message from Hyung asking for help, as all the other dungeon haulers bailed on him, and so Suho decides to give him a hand. However, this dungeon was actually a factory run by a group of demons using the Mistburn monsters from earlier as fuel for something called Stardust, but more on that later. Now, the demons were originally loyal to Jinwoo, who were ruled under the Radiru family or Esil's clan, but there was a revolution, leading to the demons becoming hostile towards Earth once again and working in collaboration with the Itarim's apostles. But these demons, nah, they're light work for Suho at this point. after Beru has been training him. But what's actually important about this dungeon encounter is the fact that Esil herself is summoned to Earth. Now, normally, she could easily fight beyond an S rank level, but all of her powers are gone. Despite that, she's revealed to actually be the heir of Baran, the previous Demon King and Monarch of White Flames. Why? Well, because she's the only demon noble left at this point, so there's quite literally nobody else who can inherit this power. And just like that, Suho gains another member of his party, and with that, another fusion skill, where Esil's hair turns white and she's able to give Suho power to land a devastating attack. But at this point, she's not able to properly pull it off. With that said though, Suho turns his attention towards what the demons are doing in that dungeon, which all links back to Stardust. Stardust is the good shit. It's a drug that enhances the abilities of hunters, growing their rank by a factor of 1. This is why demons were able to rise up against the nobles. The guild behind the creation of the Stardust is the Grim Reapers, more specifically, its Vice Guild Master Lee Min Sung. And this dude is such a dick, bruh. Like, he is a celebrity, having fame, money, fortune, bitches, everything. But when hunters started appearing, his driver became an S rank and he was only A rank. He couldn't stand that fact that his lowly driver was stronger than him and wanted the entire world to revolve around him. I will continue his story in just a bit, because there is another dungeon to enter as a relic of the beast Rakan is calling to Suho as he delves into the Magok Field. But he's not alone, as the Baiko Guild, led by their vice president Baek Minho, daughter of the legendary S-ranker Baek Yunho, has also entered the jungle. But Miho isn't there on a raid. She is following a strange, persistent voice urging her to prove her qualifications to become a king. This voice grows louder as they move deeper into the sanctuary, finally forcing her into a moment of realization. Her beast transformation powers are awakening further and her eyes start taking on the golden glow of a monarch candidate. Meanwhile, Suho pushes even deeper as he's drawn to a grotesque wraith tree, which he easily takes care of. Bro even takes care of a bigger threat called the Arachne, a massive spider queen nesting in this sanctuary. Nothing can stop this menace because he now has an upgraded skill called Blade Storm, which makes his movement like that of his mother Chahain. Yet it's revealed that the Arachne and wraith trees were actually a test to see if Suho was worthy. Turns out each beast relic isn't just a weapon, they are tests left behind by Rakan to evaluate who among the next generation deserves to bear the title of monarch. But after coming in contact with the relic, Suho figures out that it never wanted to make Suho the monarch, but instead possess him. So Suho makes a deal with Rakan himself, who's observing from the Sea of the Afterlife, that Suho has the authority to wield the beast powers, but he must train and let Grey grow to one day inherit the role of monarch. The next level up for our goat son, which allows Suho to become the pontifex of the beast, or an apostle of the beast. The next level up for our goat son happens in Egypt, where a pyramid-type dungeon is being raided by many top-ranked guilds from around the world, like the Scavenger Guild of America, headed up by Thomas Andre, the rank 1 hunter, and the Ashura Guild, India's rank 1, with its guildmaster Siddharth Bacchan. However, they don't show up here. Instead, their A-rank members do, notably Ryo Singh from Ashura. As Suho enters the pyramid, he had to fight his way through the gatekeepers of both monsters and hostile hunters, especially the Scavenger Guild, as they recognized him as a threat. Suho defeats them with a mix of shadow soldiers and ruler's authority. After seeing Suho's true powers though, everybody gets on this dude's dick trying to recruit him, especially Ryo, cause bro will get a big ass promotion if he brings a gem like Suho on board. Soon, Suho encounters a sealed guardian, a massive warrior named Amut, the devourer of death, a crocodile-headed monster of myth. Amut Amut wasn't just a typical dungeon boss though. He was once a great warrior and trainer, cursed and sealed inside the pyramid by his former partner Kandiaru, the very architect of the level up system. Amut's curse made him eternally unable to die, unable to escape, even chained to this pyramid for centuries. His job was originally to train Monarch vessels, but he had been betrayed and locked away. After a brutal battle, Suho earns Amut's respect not just by strength but because of his resilience and Monarch-like presence. After their fight, Amut recognizes Suho as a rightful successor of the Shadow Monarch and offers him something rare, training in a legendary technique known as spiritual body manifestation. This power allows a hunter to project and enhance their body by increasing speed, durability, magic control, and raw combat power far beyond normal limits. And the training, well, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and running 10 kilometers. But he has to do all of this while carrying Amut's spiritual form on his back, which creates a gravity field that increases based on Suho's progress. This training was so intense that Suho's bones would break, his muscles would tear. He'd constantly be crushed under the spiritual weight of his master, but the bandages of the pyramid would forcibly hold his shattered body together while pain still surged through every limb. Bro had to drink hella healing potions mid-training just to stay functional. And if you guys want some peak healing potions, code ABD at GamerSupps for 10% off. Peak healing potions. After this brutal training, Suho finally acquired spiritual body manifestation, which enhanced his power by a lot. And he definitely needed this boost because in the next arc, bro would fight a literal monarch. As we move to the Times Square Field Dungeon, which is being overrun by Mistburn, and the Baco Guild has been called upon to help. So Suho, being a freelancer, signs up and quickly displays calm leadership in the thick of it. Things don't stay quiet for long though, as soon a massive swarm of wasps and bees invade the dungeon. Hunters at first brush it off like, bruh, they're just inside. What the fuck are they gonna do? A little wasp is gonna beat me up, a C-rank hunter. But then they quickly realize they aren't ordinary insects. They are contaminated wasps, creatures infused with dungeon mana, making them exponentially more stronger. The dungeon swarm wasn't just random though. It turns out that the true villain is an awakened criminal named Lee Min-sung, a follower of the Queen Bee Arsha, who wants to turn all of Seoul into her beehive. Min-sung was born with everything. Even before the Cataclysm, he was rich, famous, and a big celebrity. But when he awakened as an A rank, while his hunter and best friend Lim Tae-gyu awakened as S rank, which meant now that he was the vice president of the Reaper Guild while his driver became the president. But the real crash out moment happened when one day, when they went out for drinks, Lim for the first time offered to pay since he was now loaded, which caused Min-sung to have the greatest crash out I have ever seen, bro. Just because a dude offered to pay for drinks instead of you paying it. Insane, legendary stuff, because soon after, Min-sung allied himself with Queen Bee Arsha and was creating Stardust in secret to compensate for his A rank. Arsha was one of the insect monarch Queresha's henchmen, but after Jinwoo killed all of the monarchs and the Itarim War started, she fell to Earth, where she was biding her time, hiding to one day claim the title of the monarch for herself. She had become kind of like a fixer for criminals and hunters running a VIP bar. That's how Min-sung came to know her. But in secret, she was lacing the drinks she would serve with monarch poison or her royal jelly, which would slowly turn even the strongest hunters into her subject. So when Min-sung started to panic after Suho was foiling his plot and Lim Tae-gyu was about to find out about his human trafficking, he ran to Mommy Arsha for help. Instead, she caused the poison to take hold of Min-sung's body and mind, turning him into a full-fledged worker bee. Bro was so delusional, he started to claim himself as the king of the insects, only to get clapped up by Suho using spiritual body manifestation. On top of that, Suho also had to whoop Queen Bee Arsha's ass, but all of a sudden, Suho gets dragged into the realm of eternal rest because Arsha had been sacrificing humans to start the successor ritual so she can become the next insect monarch. Luckily, Suho possessed a part of Queresha's power through the blessing of Kandiaru, which dragged him into the realm of eternal rest where boss music started and Suho would have to battle Queresha herself. Queresha launched an endless swarm of her insect army, attempting to consume Suho's body and mind in a test of survival. The battle was framed as an urgent quest, Queresha's Solitude, where Suho had to survive for 4 hours against the swarm. She underestimated Suho, thinking he would panic, but Suho remained completely nonchalant. Why? Because he had inherited multiple Monarch abilities already, including Iron Body Manifestation from the Iron Body Monarch, Blessing of the Fang Monarch, and his father's Shadow. Seeing Suho's power, Queresha was completely caught off guard. Instead of just fighting the insects, Suho did something insane. He started to eat them, following Rakan's advice of eat rather than be eaten. Suho literally devoured Queresha herself. I wouldn't mind devouring Queresha, but it is what it is. This infuriated Queresha as Suho was consuming parts of her existence, but this strategy ultimately led to Suho gaining the title Natural Enemy of Insects, giving him a 40% stat boost against bug-type monsters. After completely breaking her will, Queresha was forced to acknowledge Suho, prompting a system message to appear stating that Queresha's Pontifex or High Priest had been extorted by Suho. This granted Suho control over remnants of Queresha's power, though not enough to fully inherit her title. However, Suho got an even greater upgrade after leaving Queresha's realm, as Suho was given the skill Shadow Save, which would allow him to keep his shadows instead of them vanishing after a day. Immediately, he arises Lee Min-sung and names him Quay. He instantly becomes Suho's strongest shadow and gains sentience, feeling regret for his actions while alive. But the craziest revelation comes from Beru saying that finally, Suho has been recognized by Jin Woo to be worthy enough to embark on his quest further, which suggests that everything that has happened to Suho so far might have been orchestrated by HIMWOO. But I will explain what that means later in the video, because for now, Suho, Esil, and Beru continue taking on dungeons while doing the daily training to beef up spiritual body manifestation. Things really pick up when a dimensional rift to the demon realm suddenly opens and Esil, being a demon noble, starts to get pulled towards it. By now, Esil has become an integral part of Suho's team, so he decides to go with her and find out what the hell is happening. But turns out the demon realm is in total disarray, being ruled by a tyrant of a demon. But he's not just any old powerful menace, instead, he's actually an apostle of the Itarim. Think of an apostle kind of like monarchs and rulers of Jinwoo's universe. However, these early apostles Suho faces aren't all that, because while the absolute being of Jinwoo's verse separated his power into 16 different beings, other outer gods chose to segment it into thousands or even millions of parts. Plus, the ones who are showing up right now are small fries who escaped the grasp of the shadow core of Jinwoo's army. So this guy hid inside a meteorite and possessed a demon host. And with the demons culture being that of the strongest rules, they would hold battles in the Colosseum to designate their current leader. So with Esil, the only surviving noble not available, this guy, powered by the Itarim's strength, easily took over the demon realm. It's also revealed that this isn't the only demon realm around, as due to the Itarim war, their dimension has been fragmented all throughout outer space, with the apostles' goal being to enslave all of the demons to do their bidding. They basically want to transform the demon realm into a base of operations by feeding them cursed food and using them to mine Hell Iron, a rare mineral used to forge powerful weapons. Using these weapons, the Mad Tyrant Apostle could then rule every demon dimension, taking a big chunk of territory from the Shadow Monarch Jinwoo. And And this dude was a real tyrant because the food was laced with a light-blooded poison, which would temporarily grant strength to mind but slowly rotted the body from the inside. And then when they would be at a state where they couldn't function at all, he would devour the demons, becoming stronger himself. The crueler part is that demons don't die the way other creatures do, as they were originally residents of the gap, which is beyond the realm of life and death. Only their physical body can be destroyed, but their soul starts to linger around and can reincarnate into another physical body, but they lose their old life's memories. However, with the apostle's blue flames, it even exterminates the soul of a demon. This fact infuriates Esil, especially after seeing the slavish conditions her people were subjected to. In order for her to not crash out and the demons smelling the noble aura from her, she hides within Suho's weapon, Vulcan's horn. Vulcan used to be an OG beast of a demon who was reawakened by the World Tree, becoming one of the strongest demons after Baran, the previous monarch. So Suho having the horn made many of the demons see him as a noble, even the mad tyrant. However, learning this, the apostle is elated since devouring a noble will give him immense strength. So an epic battle between Jin Woo Son and the first apostle of the story ensues. Unfortunately for the tyrant, Suho has a 40% buff against demons, which he earned after killing the ones producing stardust back on Earth. Not only that, but his new soldier Quay plus spiritual body manifestation, which is boosted even more by Rakan's power, he starts to make quick work of the op. Finally, Suho rallies the enslaved demons to eat the tyrant as he's on his last leg because all that power can be shared among the starving demons. As the frenzy dies down, Esil finally reveals herself as the last surviving demon noble and reasserts her presence as their leader. Now her goal is to reunite all of the fragmented demon realms and help out Jinwoo in the Great Itarim War. After leaving the demon realm, Suho starts to wonder just how strong he has gotten since he was already at a level of an enhanced A ranker Minsung before leveling up by fighting Queresha and even an Itarim's apostle. And his pleas would be heard after the rank 1 hunter, America's Thomas Andre, takes up an interest on the young lord. Thomas Andre receives a prophecy from Norma Selner, naming Suho as an essential asset to conquering the S-rank Glacier dungeon. So bro wastes zero time and shows up in Korea without notice. Remember, S-rankers like Andre are like nukes to their country, so him just crossing borders like this is a national level incident. In reality, bro just wanted to gauge Suho's strength for himself to see if the prophecy held up. Bro ran across Seoul sniffing out our boy, and when they met, he instantly challenges him to a duel because he is skeptical at a C ranker being so valuable. Because remember, Suho hasn't done a retest of his skills for like 100 chapters now. He isn't scared of this battle though. Instead, he is excited to get a chance to fight an S-class hunter. After activating his shadows and ruler's authority, Thomas is pleasantly surprised where Suho even manages to land a few blows on the goat, which impresses him. So now Suho will join the Scavengers Guild in his first big time dungeon raid. Before that though, he wants to buy a sturdy bow because the Glacier dungeon is a field type where an entire island in the Pacific Ocean has been taken over by its icy grasp, where now a tribe of ice elves exist as well. So since they use bows and are ranged, it would be nice for Suho to also have a bow. But after seeing Suho's aura during the Minsung incident, the Reaper Guild's Lim Taegyu, an S ranker, has taken a liking to Suho, and with him being a ranger, he has accompanied him into the markets to buy a bow. Also Ryo Singh, he has made his way to Korea, also broke and recruit Suho into the Ashura. This dude glazes this man to no end. Like the entire manhwa, Ryo Singh is on Suho's dick. Gobble gobble, alright? He even spends money with his guild's corporate card on Suho. Like, this is insane levels of simping. At the end of the day though, Ryo just ends up being a glorified translator because somehow bro knows every language, okay? Anyways, Lim Taegyu starts to instruct Suho about how you can't just pick the strongest bow as your body needs to be strong enough to wield it. That a melee summoner type hunter like Suho Suho doesn't have the aura to live. Bro brought up aura! Bro brought up aura in front of the Sung family member. Okay, it's over for this dude. Cause Suho, literally the next scene, picks up the biggest and heaviest bow in the whole store. That's called aura maxing. It's in the blood. It's in the lineage, bro. This feat ends Lim's career faster than the Japanese hunters did in the OG timeline, leaving him completely stun-locked, asking Suho if he has archery skills because you need a big mana pool to create arrows. But Suho just says nope, and instead decides to use his shadow soldiers like Quay to transform into a shadow arrow which he can shoot infinitely. His arrows don't just fly, but they have their own sentience as they're more like homing missiles. Witnessing these abilities, Lim lends Suho his own S-rank bow, while at the same time Ryo buys Suho a high tier bow using his corporate card. Both are trying to win our boy over to their guild basically. After a few mana beasts pop up at the store location, Suho even outshines Thomas Andre in defeating them, surprising everyone present. Are they even called mana beasts? I've been reading T-Bait too much. They got mana beasts in T-Bait. Anyway, but now it's time for the actual raid. As soon as we enter, everyone gets the debuff Curse of the Code. Not Suho though, thanks to Kandiaru's blessing. Instantly, all hunters are separated due to the thick fog and the blizzard-like conditions, with the ice elves bombarding them with arrows. But Suho manages to reach the village of the elves, where instead of fighting, the elves are in awe of his presence. Turns out, after Cha-Hain left Jinwoo on the back of Kaisel 5 years ago, she ended up in the ice village. When she arrived, the ice elves were under siege by the spirits of the Echo Forest, dangerous entities that had never before left their domain. Cha-Hain at the time was already an S-rank level hunter, having awakened her full powers again, and so she helped the elves defeat these spirits. After saving the village, Cha-Hain remained with the ice elves, becoming their teacher, protector, and guardian figure. She trained the young survivors in swordsmanship and protected them from further threat, essentially becoming their adoptive mother. Turns out that pretty much all of the strong adult elves had gone to fight in the Monarch War with their leader Silad, the Frost Monarch. However, with Jinwoo winning that battle and the Itarim War raging, their very own forest had started to be a thorn on their side. As with Silad gone, who had dominion over the spirits, the Echo Forest spirits were starting to possess the elves and kill them. Their home itself was turning against them. I'll explain more about this later in the video. Cha-Hain constantly was trying to search for a rift to return home, but she never found it. Eventually, she detected strange magical phenomena in the Echo Forest called the Grey Snow. This Grey Snow was what Kaisel was drawn to, which led her to explore deeper into the forest, searching for the Tomb of the Light Dragons, possibly a gateway or a source of power for Kaisel, because Kaisel, being away from his master, was quickly running out of mana. Suho, after learning this, ventured into the forest alongside his new companion, an elven child named Sirika. Upon entering, Suho is ambushed by ice golems, creatures formed by spirits possessing corpses of fallen elves. These golems regenerate endlessly by absorbing surrounding ice. Instead of being scared of this immortal ice army though, Suho uses it to level up. He's like, yeah, it's time for me to level up now. Thank God for this immortal army in front of me. Suho starts the battle by deploying his own immortal shadow army of 36. Bro got 36 shadow soldiers now. W for Suho. Can we get a clap for Suho? These include shadow trolls, kobolds, goblins, and newly extracted shadow elves. Realizing they keep using the snow to reform their bodies, Suho uses Quay as an arrow to pierce the spirits directly in the body. Once the spirits are detached like that, Suho can turn the elf corpse into his own shadow army. Furthermore, the elf girl Circa gets inspired and motivated by Suho, awakening her own power since she is the closest to becoming a descendant of the Frost Monarch. But if you guys want more info on Circa, watch the Every God in Solo Leveling video. Honestly, watch the Every God in Solo Leveling video because that's like a companion piece to this video. So watch both of the videos, because I'm not gonna go over the same stuff I did over there on this video. While searching for his mother, Suho also learns of a quest to find the Echo Forest spring. As he runs along, he stumbles upon an unfrozen spring which is connected to the Frost Monarch Salat. Suho's presence awakens the long-dead Frost Lord from the realm of eternal rest, but instead of being hostile, he is thankful to Suho and the Sung family for helping his elven children, especially his mother Cha-ain, who was the core reason for his race to survive. Furthermore, he also gifts Circa a direct connection to him. This encounter furthers Suho's connection to another monarch. After going through the hordes of these spirit monsters, Suho finally reaches the tomb of the dragons where his mother is waiting. However, this reunion is short-lived as Thomas Andre is revealed to have been possessed by an apostle of the Itarim who had turned him into a ice dragon. So Suho and his mother team up to confront him, as Suho uses every ability in his disposal while Cha-ain unleashes her sword of light to weaken the dragon form. Eventually, the young lord realizes that the spring water has purifying properties and they lure the ice dragon toward the hot spring. And the moment Thomas's body touches the water, the spirits are dispersed and the possession ends. Freed from possession, Thomas Andre becomes even stronger as he absorbs the Itarim's power and regains his memories from the OG timeline. He fights alongside Suho and Cha-ain to finish off the remaining corrupted spirits and protect the spring. And this spring will be a vital asset for Earth to fight against the Itarim's forces, as it can completely heal you plus take away any possessions. Yet the Ice Elves will only allow Suho to access it. So a deal gets made between the Scavenger Guild and Suho, facilitated by his uncle Jinho. Here, Suho will have complete control over the spring while the Scavenger Guild handles the distribution and commercialization of the water, concluding the negotiation with both parties taking 50% profit. This instantly makes Suho one of the richest people in the world. I'm just gonna put it out there. It's gonna be in the future, but bro is loaded now, even more loaded than Jinho. This is how valuable this water is. Because, having a monopoly over water that can literally heal anything is beyond busted in this post-apocalyptic hunter-filled Earth. As Suho leaves his mother behind to help the elves gain more control of the spirits, he now has a new mission: to create a guild of his own so that he can enter dungeons by himself. Plus, what is bro gonna do with all that money that will come with this new deal, right? But to even form a guild, you have to go through 20 C-rank dungeons. We already know this from Solo Leveling, OG Solo Leveling. Jin Woo already did this, so why do we want to see this? So instead, there is another way you can form a guild: by subjugating villains or criminal hunters. And luckily, a massive prison break happens in the hunter jail known as Jisan prison. This is where all the criminal hunters are restrained using mana cuffs, where if the villains try to use magic, the collar will explode. However, a rat named Wang Dong-suk, yup, the same bum who tried to kill Jinwoo and Jinho in the C-rank dungeon, starts a uprising. Although a C-ranker after awakening, he and his brother Wang Dong-soo were frauds and cheats before the Cataclysm, where Wang Dong-suk would overpower his bro. However, after awakening, his brother became S-rank while he was a mere C-rank. This created a rift between the two, where the brothers had zero contact between them. But inside the prison, Wang Dong-suk gained a lot of clout using his S-rank brother's S-class name. A bro would just brag about, yeah, I got my brother backing me up. You guys better promise fealty to me, cause my S-rank brother gonna come and fuck you up. Furthermore, Stardust had started making its way inside the prison, which temporarily boosts magic output and bypasses mana restraints. So once the drug was distributed, Wang Dong-suk led a riot that spiraled into a prison-wide bloodbath with prisoners escaping en masse. Bro kept lying to everyone that once they are outside, his brother would be waiting to lead them to dominance. He was lying out of his teeth. In reality though, he never intended to stay with them. He knew that if he alone escaped as a C-ranker, the stronger hunters would be able to take care of him. But with the entire prison in revolt, he used this chance of chaos to get away. Soon enough, the bounty hunters showed up, including Sung Suho, who used a new ability called Bloodlust, which is like Hunker's hockey on crack. It instantly caused most of the inmates to lose morale and give themselves up. However, the stronger villains, enhanced by Stardust, didn't stop, as their rampage even caught an ally of Suho, Kang Tae-shin, chick in an explosion, which kills him. Yep, this is the same B ranker who got bodied by Jin Woo in season 1 of Solo Leveling. In Ragnarok though, we get a bit of a backstory, as turns out he was severely abused as a child, where he had to kill his own father in self-defense at only 7 years old. And with the world leaving him behind, he turned into the vicious assassin that targeted Jin Woo. In Ragnarok, Jin Chol took him in and gave him a bounty hunter license instead. And after dying, he would arise as Suho's new strongest shadow, the assassin Kira, who would make quick work of the villains, including Wang Dong-suk. The subjugation of villains not only serves to strengthen Suho, but cements him as a top-class hunter in all of Korea. Until now, he had been wearing a crow mask while doing all the public hunter activities, but this arc that it shatters, revealing Suho's true identity to the entire country, gaining him massive clout as he killed 500 villains to save the day. In the background though, this event causes the public to lose a lot of faith upon the Hunter Association, and some even call for Jin Chol's resignation, because he has gone to North Korea as the entire country has turned into a field dungeon, threatening a leak into South Korea. Coming back to Suho though, he has succeeded in getting his guild registered with the help of his uncle Jinho, as him and Ajin Soft, his uncle's company, handle all of the administrative work for Suho to create a top-tier guild. But a guild needs a name, and Suho picks Solo Play Guild just like his father in the past. Jinho once again says that's lame and cringe, so instead they land on Woojin Guild, which is a tribute to Jin Woo and a symbolic meaning of Woo as in universe and Jin to advance, together meaning advancing into the universe. But a guild of course needs at least 3 members, so Suho picks his friend from college Lim Do-gyun as a vice guildmaster, with Esil serving as the final member because she looks pretty human. I'd tap that. Another thing of note which occurs during this arc is Jinho unlocks his memories of the past after watching Suho use a special item called the Shadow Dungeon Key, which triggers a spiritual reaction in Jinho's mind. Jinho is plunged into a surreal white void where he begins experiencing a cascade of vivid flashbacks, memories of dungeon raids, heartfelt conversations, and powerful moments with Jin Woo. After the return of his memories, Jinho is no longer just Suho's supportive uncle. He regains his identity as the trusted and loyal companion of the Shadow Monarch, and this drastically shifts his tone and aura, giving Suho advice to hide his identity until he is a S-class like his father to not attract danger. With the Woojin Guild formed, Suho and the gang go on their first raid to Busan, where Jinwoo would make his first appearance. Busan has been dealing with a lot of gates opening around, but the worst one is at Hyundai Beach. Is that just Hyundai Beach? The car company. Anyway, they go to Hyundai Beach. They got a lot of cars, you know, they got... Anyway, they go to Hyundai Beach, where skeletons began to overwhelm the area, so hunters from around the area plus a few outsiders like Lim Tae-gyu, whose guild is pretty much bankrupt after what Lee Min-sung did, plus the Woojin Guild, where we find out that Suho's closest friend, Lim Do-gyun's dad, is actually Lim Tae-gyu, but Do-gyun ran away from home after his mom turned into a mist burn, leading to his father killing her, for which he never forgave Lim Tae-gyu. But in this raid, they would work together alongside the Knights Guild. At first, people are quite apprehensive about a C-Ranker's guild. Thanks to Lee Joo-hee though, everyone comes to the same page, and the raid begins with multiple YouTubers and Twitch streamers showing up to record it all. And it goes exactly how you expected. These bums are nothing but obstacles for the real hunters. Bro was live streaming a dungeon raid, bro. Get out of there! It's an A-rank gate! The you doing? Anything reviews, I gotta get those bits and donations. You know? Matter of fact, why don't you guys check out Gamer Subs? You know, 10% off. And, you know, peak stuff. Buy some U-Green, Genshin Impact sponsorship. And peak stuff, please. Better than these YouTubers streaming a dungeon raid, right? But Suho, using his many shadow soldiers, quickly takes the lead, where he even uses the Blizzard of Frost attack to incapacitate the threats. This is a direct borrowed ability of the Frost Monarch. That is how busted this dude has become. Everyone splits into different teams to try and find the gate, which they must close. And during the separation, each are confronted by illusions from the past, which they must overcome. Like Limtig Yu's wife appears in front of him wanting a hug, and when he hugs her, he starts burning. This was all done by a magic caster named Javier with his Mirage ability. His magic turned the battlefield into a nightmare, trapping even elite hunters in painful hallucinations of loved ones they had lost or killed. As the battle between Javier and Suho commences, Javier turns into a Kraken. He says that this creature depicts one of the strongest and scariest threats he has ever seen, an apostle of the Itarim. But Suho still manages to whoop his ass, prompting Javier to peer into Suho and conjure the strongest and scariest existence in Suho's mind, which is of course the Shadow Lord Sung Jin Woo. Suho is completely taken aback as his father emerges to fight him. Shockingly, the illusion wasn't just a visual projection, it summoned its own shadow army like fake Egress and Iron. These soldiers attacked indiscriminately, targeting Suho's allies and forcing him to defend both himself and his guild members against mirror versions of his own forces. The illusion even had ruler's authority as it slammed his own son onto the ground. This deeply unsettled Suho and nearly made him hesitate during battle. For a moment, he couldn't bring himself to strike back. However, quickly the Mirage started to question its own existence, which should never happen with one of Javier's spells. As the Mirage questions itself, the core of Javier's illusion magic starts collapsing. His entire spell matrix becomes unstable because one of the central constructs is rejecting its programmed identity. Javier, sensing the spell unraveling, tries to reinforce the illusion using more mana, but the Mirage of Jinwoo continues destabilizing everything, as he starts talking about how an illusion is also a type of shadow of existence, so even there the Monarch reigns supreme. Bruh, this is the greatest aura farming moment of Jinwoo, I swear to god. This results in Jinwoo's real consciousness, which is universes apart, connecting to the illusion as he saves his boy, and a new ability is unlocked for Suho called Monarch's Domain. While Suho deals with Javier, Jinwoo's Mirage goes to the Shadow Dungeon and makes it possible for Amut to move around more and even be able to become the next Iron Body Monarch in the future. The moment Suho defeats Javier, he is turned into a magical stone, which was the doing of Jinwoo also. This will become important in just a bit, so keep it in mind. While Suho was busy beating up Javier, Esil was actually the one to find the hidden dungeon gate, leading the Woojin Guild to be the MVP, which granted them a plaque of recognition from the mayor of Busan, plus rights to dungeons around the area. After becoming one of the top guilds in Korea, Suho needed a way to humble himself. Due to getting so strong so quickly, he didn't want his identity to change as much because he still wanted to be a Sung. So what better way to do that than go hang out with your grandparents? Now, those of you who have been watching all of the solo leveling videos I put out know that Suho's grandpa used to be one of the strongest S rankers in the OG timeline, where he returned after a 10-year absence and helped his boy Jinwoo during the Monarch War. However, in this timeline, Sung Il-hwan was just a firefighter until he retired recently to the resort town of Yongpyong, where not only he and Jinwoo's mother live right now, but Suho's aunt Jinha has also started the top hospital in all of Korea there, especially in regards to mana sickness. And with her being married to Jinho, they are loaded, like beyond loaded. Like they own this town, honestly. Like deadass, if I'm being deadass, they own this town. However, when Suho calls to inform them that he's coming to visit, his grandpa doesn't even pick up the phone. As the silence goes on longer than usual, Suho's instincts start telling him something's off. So Bruz literally runs like 200 kilometers from Seoul to Yongpyong in a flash. There, he meets his aunt Jinna as they both go to the Sung residence. The house is open, eerily quiet, and there is some slight disarray. An ominous sign considering that his grandfather was known for keeping things organized and methodical. Soon after, Suho visits the local Hunter Association branch, where branch manager Min Do-suk had previously been dismissing any claims of disappearance by saying Sung Il-hwan might just be off fishing, bruh. But Suho's pressure and family's insistence finally forces the association to admit the truth. The reason Suho's grandmother's complaint about her missing husband was rejected is because they thought he wasn't even missing. This is due to the fact that although not a registered hunter, Ilwan had awakened, where he would help out with trouble in the neighborhood for his hunter branch. Later, a witness reports seeing Sung Ilwan walking in a direction opposite from the usual fishing spot, towards the area near the Merchants Association, which alarmed Suho even more. Basically, for a long time, Jinwoo's father had unlocked his memories of the OG timeline. However, he felt guilty about the decisions he made, especially abandoning his family. Thus, he had vowed to protect them at any cost. With his son and daughter-in-law's disappearance, this guilt factor had boiled up even more, as Juan was the head of the family now. So when threats emerged in the area of his home, he felt necessary to protect his family, especially considering how powerful he actually was in the OG timeline due to him receiving the ruler's blessing. However, now by the looks of it, Sung Hil-won might have chewed more than he could swallow. So with the new lead from the witness tying his grandfather's disappearance directly to the shady hunters group known as the Merchants Association, which Suho soon discovers is a front for the black market operations, bro locks the again. Turns out even the Hunter Association was already corrupted in this area where things were so peaceful, likely due to Ilhwan dealing with all the threats unknown to the hunters, that they had nothing better to do. So even the cops were in on the black market buying and selling stardust necklaces. Suho enters the black market disguised as a demon using the Vulcan's horn. Due to most of the merchants being demons, no one suspected him. Here he joins a fighting ring where Suho claps the crap out of some low-life hunters, gathering valuable information in the process, learning that the Outer Gods cult, specifically the Itarim's apostles, are behind this market. The main goal in the black market was to implant star pieces into humans, magical cores that act as both power amplifiers and faith-based parasitic properties, slowly altering the host's thoughts, making them subconsciously revere the Outer Gods. Inside the black market, they weren't just distributing star pieces, they were experimenting on human hunters to test compatibility. Many gamblers, fighters, and dungeon diving hunters were implanted with star pieces, and those who lost control became zealots or monsters under the cult's command, while at the same time feeding their mana into the Itarim statue at the temple. The hunter leading all of this was none other than the priest of the Outer Gods, Wang Dong-su. Yep, the same S-ranker who Jinwoo turned into his shadow in the OG timeline. He took up the Itarim's offer of power and became their priest. Meanwhile, they kidnapped Suho's grandpa because he had a unique disposition to mana since he was a former ruler vessel. So instead of placing, let's say, one star piece, they put dozens of them all around Juan's body. But he is a Sung, so these pieces could never brainwash him. Instead, he started clapping the shit out of Wang Dong-su. This causes the Itarim statue to crash out, boosting up Wang Dong-su's power so much so that he loses all control. But against Suho and his grandpa, who honestly might give Suho a run for his money and strength right now, they easily deal with both of the threats. With the battle ending, Suho uses shadow extraction on a fallen hunter named Kim Chol, yep, the bum-ass hunter from the OG timeline. As the shadow emerges, it doesn't even fight, instantly turning into iron, with all the memories and loyalty to Jin Woo surfacing alongside his revival. Furthermore, as Suho defeats Wang Dong-su, his soul screams out in agony, not because of death, but after the realization that he had just fought the son of the Shadow Lord. Because remember, Jin Woo defeated Dong-su and turned him into greed. So when Suho arises him, Wang Dong-su instantly becomes his strongest shadow general, Greed. Oh, also, Greed, Iron, and Beru have a little party and they start cheering, "Yay, we're back together, the gang's all together." After the battle, Greed explains that the star pieces embedded in Sung Hil-won's body are not just tools for power, they are dimensional rift seeds like miniature gates. These pieces start cracking and Il-hwan's body begins to destabilize, threatening to become a massive, uncontrollable portal. But not a typical dungeon gate. This one is a chaotic tear in the dimensional space, a void gate unlike any Suho has ever seen before. To stop the rift from ripping Ilhwan apart, the only option is to enter the void directly, the space between dimensions where monarchs once wandered. The void is described as an empty, chaotic world between dimensions, the space where Jinwoo once wandered with the Shadow Army, defeating monarchs for over 70 years. The moment they enter, Ilhwan's condition stabilizes, confirming Greed's explanation. High priests and outer god cultists must return to the void periodically, or they risk their bodies shattering due to star piece overload. One of the most haunting realizations is that Ilhwan had become a walking gate, and if not for Suho's intervention, his body would have exploded into a massive rift, resulting in the Itarim invasion of Earth. So Suho makes a firm decision. He will gather the ingredients required to create the holy water of life, a mythical elixir capable of purifying the star piece contamination and freeing his grandfather from the chains of the void. But to make it, he will need some rare ingredients. Luckily, he already has one of them, the spring water of the Echo Forest. The other two ingredients are the fragment of the world tree and the divine beast's breath. By now, Suho has shadow soldiers stationed all over the globe, so when Kira, who was hiding in Ryo Singh's shadow, sent him a signal about Itarim forces in India, Suho instantly shadow exchanged to the state of Manipur in India. As Suho starts talking to Ryo on their way to the city of Imphal, they find out that there are some sus rumors going around about the Ashura Guild. A while back, a dungeon break happened in the Loktak Lake area. Like over 5 dungeons just started popping up out of nowhere with some high rank Naga dragonoids. The Ashura Guild claimed exclusive control over the region, sidelining even the local guilds. Since this was a field-type dungeon, they claimed dominion over the entire Loktak Lake area. The Ashuras were giving out stardust necklaces to everyone in Manipur for protection. This is a state with nearly 3 million people, okay? Keep that in mind. However, as we all know, these necklaces brainwash you into following the Outer Gods cult without question, making it easier for them to manipulate and use you. It gets worse though, because the ugly truth of India's largest guild is that they turned all of Manipur into their own personal human experimentation zone, largely centered around the 2 million poor people. Siddharth Bacchan, who is the guild leader of the Ashura Guild, believed that to protect humanity, he must make them stronger, even if it meant using unethical means. He was driven by the belief that weak people would always die unless they were forcibly evolved. At the start, he was a great hunter, protecting the weak and raised through the ranks to become the 4th strongest hunter in OG solo leveling. But slowly, his memories from the past timeline started to make him lose hope. Since only one hunter, Sung Jin Woo, was able to stand against the godly beings like the monarchs, and now Earth faces a similar threat with the Itarims, but the Shadow Monarch is nowhere to be found. So it was up to Siddharth to save the world. That was his thought process. This sentiment of his gets further corrupted by the apostles as he became the high priest of the foreign religion, fully merging with a dragon blood and transforming into a dragon-human hybrid variant 1, a perfected being unlike Hwang Dong-su. Before Suho could fight him though, the number 2 ranked national level hunter, China's Liu Zhejiang, shows up in Manipur. Liu Zhejiang was partially corrupted by the power of the Itarim during his awakening 2 years ago, but unlike others, he did not succumb. Instead, he resisted it by constantly fighting magical beasts to expel the corruption through battle. The constant need for fighting led him to seek out challenging field dungeons, especially those dangerously neglected ones, regardless of national borders. Liu Zhejiang heard that even India's strongest hunter, Siddharth Bacchan, was struggling in Loktak. That made it an ideal battlefield. While officially claiming he was helping Siddharth, it was really just an excuse. His true motivation was to find an outlet for his overwhelming power and suppress his internal madness. Once in Loktak, Liu Zhigang began slaughtering magical beasts at an overwhelming level. He also confronted and helped uncover the dark experiments being conducted by the Ashura Guild. And while he was doing this, the Chinese government used it as an opportunity to provide negative press to their rival India by sending in drone cameras which were live streaming the entire battle online. As Liu made his way through Loktak, he finally crossed paths with Sung Suho. Smelling the Itarim's mana from Suho's newest shadow greed, he charged at them. Bro wouldn't even listen to Ryo Singh's translation. Bro, how are you gonna ignore Ryo Singh? His paranoia and martial instincts overrode any attempts at diplomacy. Eventually, the misunderstanding escalates into a directed duel between Liu Zhigang and Suho himself. Despite Liu's elite hunter skills and terrifying martial arts, Suho held his own with overwhelming power, further strengthened by his system-enhanced combat style. Suho ultimately defeated Liu Zhigang not by killing him, but by cleansing the Itarim corruption in his body using the Echo Forest's water. This also caused the inner apostle within Liu Zhigang to manifest and be slain. After the fight, Liu Zhigang no longer saw Suho as a threat, but as a protector of humanity as he got his memories back, which reminded Liu of Jinwoo's image on Suho. So now, together, they would face Siddharth Bacchan, but it's quickly apparent that Liu Zhigang can't hang with the big dogs. Yet, even Suho begins to have problems against the Dragonoid army of Siddharth. Like, this dude turned like most of the people of Manipur into his dragon army. Like, this dude is psychotic, bruh. Ain't no way I got the same name as him. However, there's a big secret I haven't told you guys. Suho has a pet dragon named Ragnar. Huh? Remember when in the Echo Forest, Chahane ended up in this grey dragon waste zone? Well, there she and Suho found a dead dragon egg, and before coming to India, Suho poured his mana on it for days to make it hatch. Also, you know Jinwoo's illusion from a few arcs ago? Well, he had understood what Suho will need in the future to help him, so Jinwoo chose to bring Antares back, but in a vastly different form. Knowing Antares' insatiable thirst for battle, he offered him a second chance, but with a catch. He would be reincarnated inside the body of Ragnar, Suho's new dragon pet. At first, Antares was like, nah, I ain't doing that. What the hell is this shit? You want me to become a baby dragon? Me, the Monarch of Destruction, Antares, in a stupid ass dragon that can't even walk right. Hell no. But then, some gears started turning in his head, and he soon saw this as an opportunity. In his previous life, he had already reached the peak of his power, leaving him with no room to grow. Now, in the body of a young dragon, he could start over and become stronger than before. Okay, I lied. Jinwoo kinda sweet-talked him into it. Bro, Jinwoo's the GOAT. He's influencing Ragnarok without even being there, okay? This dude is aura farming without even being there. GOAT for a reason. However, Antares' lack of mana in his new form meant that he was frequently incapacitated, requiring Suho's assistance to function properly. Despite his limitations, Antares continued training Suho as the next Monarch of Destruction because the amount of hacks this kid already has, plus his father's Shadow Monarch powers, Antares has started to view Suho as his own legacy as well, so he's teaching him how to wield the power of destruction. So after defeating hordes of dragonoids thrown by Siddharth, Suho leveled up to 99, which triggered a job change quest, where Suho would become the candidate for the possession of the Dragon Monarch. He immediately accepted, but was engulfed in excruciating pain as Dragon King fire erupted from within his chest. So now, Suho had to fight Siddharth while burning the whole time, and the flames would only stop after he leveled up. This was honestly a good thing though, because imagine bro had defeated a threat like Siddharth and leveled up, initiating the trial. How would he stop it? He would be dead. Even still, the battle was devastating, especially after Siddharth summoned his outer god weapon known as Astra. And for all of you Indians out there, yeah, when I was reading this shit, it did felt like bro summoned the Brahmastra. This weapon was splitting the whole sky like a portal to Waco Mundo. However, However, Suho did a big brain move. He held on to Siddharth, causing the flames of destruction to spread on the hunter, finally spelling his doom and becoming level 100 and now able to wield destruction in his palms. This also meant that now Suho could extract Siddharth as a shadow, whom he named Sita, making him the strongest shadow in his arsenal now. Suho's trip to India wasn't done yet though, as the Chinese government, initially wanting to boost national pride and highlight Liu Zheshang's feats of saving India, deployed thousands of drone cameras illegally over the Indian border so they can stream real-time footage of the Loktak field dungeon. Because as we know, there's a lot of border tension between the two countries in Arunachal Pradesh, and it seems in Solo Leveling this is still the case. However, their plans backfired spectacularly, as the drones captured everything happening on the battlefield, including Suho fighting and defeating Siddharth. The world saw his overwhelming power, far surpassing what the public expected of any Korean hunter. Liu apologized for his country's behavior, but Suho replied calmly, "It's alright bro, I recently got permission from my father," as by reaching level 100, Suho had broken through being Monarch level. This marked the moment Suho's identity and strength were broadcast globally, not just to the media, but to other guilds and governments, like Yuri Orlov in Russia, who has basically become like a dictator in Russia because he overthrew Putin. Yeah, dead ass. They don't say it explicitly, it was Putin, but it was, okay, trust me bro, trust me. After returning to Korea, he openly revealed his identity at an official press conference, unmasking himself as the mysterious vigilante known as the Crow and becoming a new S-rank hunter. Suho's time in India also gave him access to the divine beast's breath, which was in one of the Itarim temples, one of the ingredients for saving his grandfather. And his guild has a new member now, Ryo Singh. Clap for Ryo Singh, W. So now the only thing left to save his grandpa was the fragment of the world tree. Next, Antares does a whole yap session explaining the world tree and how the universe works, but I already made that video, and honestly a lot of the revelations that happen after this point I covered in my All Gods of Solo Leveling video, so go watch the Solo Leveling Gods video if you haven't after this video. But essentially this is what Antares yaps about. The world tree is a massive divine entity rooted in the sea of the afterlife with branches stretching across the entire universe. According to Antares, it exists everywhere and nowhere because the universe itself is built upon it. It's like asking where your house is located within your own house. Beyond its immense scale, the world tree serves as a dimensional bridge, connecting realms like the demon world and the elven wood. Also, it plays a vital role in the cycle of souls and power throughout the cosmos. It was planted by the absolute being to preserve universal balance. Think of it like a motherboard of existence with everything else running on its foundation. This is why the outer gods are desperate to locate the world tree in Jinwoo's universe, as it contains much of the absolute being's remaining power. Even the second reawakening mechanic often occurs when someone in a near-death sleeping sickness encounters the world tree. Seo Jiwoo awakened as an S-class hunter under this way, seeing the world tree in a dream. In fact, through Seo Jiwoo, Suho learns about how to access the threads of the world tree being transported there. While he's trying to enter North Korea, you have to go through the DMZ, and the DMZ line has all of these demonic spirit creatures, and Suho ends up going to the afterlife realm. Interestingly, the system created by Jinwoo and the architect Kanyaru, who is also from the demonic specter race, draws its power from the world tree. So the illusions and stuff these demonic specters are creating at the DMZ line, it helped Suho access this realm. While exploring the afterlife, Suho came into contact with Baran's demons. This interaction somehow resonated with Baran's lingering consciousness, awakening him from dormancy. Basically, bro was so angry he came back to life. As soon as Baran saw Suho, he was filled with hate because inside Suho, Antares and Ashbourne's energy was present, and they are his biggest ops. In their fight, Suho was struggling like crazy because he couldn't even summon his shadow soldiers in the afterlife dimension, nor could he gain access to potions. In his desperation, Suho had to rely on the other monarchs who teamed up to lend him some power. However, when Baran activated Doppelganger, literally transforming and inheriting Suho's powers, it was kinda looking dicey, but Suho had a trump card. At that moment, a quest notification appeared instructing Suho to use the power of destruction to burn Baran's soul away. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot lot of stuff like this notification popping up, I feel like that's Jin Woo manipulating Suho's journey and making sure his kid is alive for the greater purpose. But being the third strongest monarch after Ashbourne and Antares, Baran wasn't going down that easily even after Suho using Breath of Destruction. But when Suho used his own Shadow Monarch abilities and extracted all the shadows of Baran's demons, seeing this, Baran screamed in agony, witnessing him being defeated by Ashbourne and Antares' powers once again. However, Baran's destruction laid the foundation for another monarch to be born, the demon monarch of gluttony, Esil. After Baran's defeat, Suho took the horn of Baran and handed it to Esil, declaring her the new demon king. The moment Esil accepted the horn, black energy surrounded her, initiating a deadly succession trial. This was Baran's final test. If Esil was unworthy, the horn would consume her soul instead. However, Suho forcibly pulled her back, saving her from destruction and allowing her to complete the transformation. Instead of inheriting Baran's title as the Monarch of White Flames, Esil evolved into something new, the Monarch of Gluttony. This title suited her insatiable hunger and ability to absorb power. After ascending, she immediately swore loyalty to Suho, granting him a 300% experience boost as her blessing. With her newfound power, Esil united the demon world, rallying them against the outer gods and adding every demon in the universe into Suho's army. The demons created a raft to explore the afterlife to find the world tree, eventually ending up face to face against the guardian of the tree, Niddhogg. Niddhogg was born from primordial darkness, originally having 7 heads, each symbolizing a fallen monarch, with the 8th shadow belonging to Jin Woo. After Suho and Esil's battle with it, only 6 heads remained as Esil consumed one and completed her transformation into a true monarch. With the threats gone, the demons, including Esil, decide to stay in the afterlife, rowing their boat along to find the world tree for Suho, because the young lord has other business in North Korea, since things haven't been too good over there after the Cataclysm. Honestly, things aren't good over there right now, but things got really bad after the Cataclysm, okay? It turned into a massive field type dungeon, similar to the Loktak field, but on an even larger scale. The field expanded outward, consuming both North Korean territory and encroaching on China and Russia, turning the area into a volatile 3-way battleground between Korean, Chinese, and Russian hunters. The North Korean government collapsed completely, and the land became a lawless wasteland, now referred to as Muju Gongsan, an unclaimed territory. Like lava flows over cities, mountains are torn apart, and overlapping dungeons formed dimensional gaps. But to Suho, this was the perfect opportunity to level up. Other than the crazy terrain, North Korea has become a hotbed for villain hunters from not only Korea but also Russia and China to call this lawless area home. However, the Korean Hunter Association, headed by Woo Jin-chol, have repeatedly destroyed their sanctuary cities. But as Suho makes his way into one of these places, he finds out that everything was being manipulated by the apostles of Itarim. They were doing the same things as they were with the black market at the Loktak field, just on a bigger scale. And one of the main culprits was the Apostle of Paradise, who came to Earth with one goal: to reshape it into a paradise for his Itarim overlords. He landed in a meteorite carrying a fragment of his power and began spreading Elvenwood, a parasitic plant that drains all life from its surroundings, perfect for the Itarim's environment. With North Korea under its grasp, his next target was Yeongpyeong City, the home of Jinwoo's family and his sister's hospital. Worse, he planned to power his project using abandoned orphans, but Suho, along with his mother and grandfather, show up and stop him. One breath of destruction from Suho torched the corrupted land, and Cha-haen finished the apostle off with her storm of white flame, while Grandpa Ilhwan blocked his dimensional escape. Still, the rat tried to slip away, only to get ambushed by Liu Zhejiang, who devoured his spirit, gaining a massive power boost and low-key joining Suho's guild. Interestingly, there was a human side to the Apostle of Paradise. He formed a bond with Russia's strongest hunter, Yuri Orlov, an orphan like himself. The Apostle, used as a pawn by his own Itarim parents, saw a reflection of his loneliness base in Yuri. Together, they spread flower pots across Russia and expanded towards North Korea. Flower pots are these Elvenwood controlled area, by the way, but Suho's story in North Korea wasn't over yet, because there was another, the Apostle of Evolution. He didn't want war or destruction. Instead, he sought immortality and evolution. Obsessed with replicating the Shadow Monarch's power, he experimented on hunters, but failed since their bodies were too weak. This is the same guy who was spreading his tentacles to places like Magok Field or Black Market, who were using people as experimentation, including the Mistburns. Eventually, his experiments led to the creation of number 47, a humanoid weapon that could regenerate but lacked a soul. Suho tracked down the Apostle of Evolution in North Korea and discovered that his real body was just a brain inside a test tube. The Apostle, fascinated by Suho's abilities, revealed his experiments and his ultimate goal to create a true immortal army just like Jinwoo's. Suho realized that if the Apostle lived long enough, his research would eventually succeed, making him a dangerous future enemy. In response, the young lord destroyed the Apostle's illusions and attacked his real body. The Apostle, unfazed by his impending death, revealed that his final experiment was already completed, and even though Suho destroyed his original brain, his essence transformed into the Apostle of Nightmare. Now, instead of focusing on science, his new ability allowed him to turn reality into a nightmare, merging dreams with the physical world. Even Beru was helpless against this Apostle's nightmare realm. The Apostle infiltrated even Circa's dream, trying to steal the power of frost from her. However, Suho entered the nightmare realm, interrupting the Apostle's plans. The Apostle believed that in his nightmare world, Suho would be powerless. However, Suho reminded him of a critical mistake. He is the Shadow Lord, so he just farmed aura in the nightmare realm, and yeah, the entire thing collapsed. And the Apostle attempted to flee, but was cornered by Suho and Beru, losing pathetically. This gave Suho even more levels and a new Monarch power through Circa. Now, there are a few more things that happen, like we see Jin Woo fighting in the Outer God War in chapter 300, where it's hinted that he has a new top-class general he has resurrected. And Woojin Chol's body almost gets cooked due to him using so many extra abilities that his vessel can't handle. Yet, it's revealed that Jin Woo planned for that by giving Jin Chol a shield which regenerates his body like new. Which makes me wonder if everything that has happened in Ragnarok so far was planned by Jin Woo, like he's fucking Aizen. Because with the latest chapter revealing Amut as the new Iron Body Monarch and Suho finally finds the World Tree, Suho is only missing the giant monarch Legia and the Monarch of Transfiguration Yogamon's powers, right? So I will cover those events more in depth when Solo Leveling Season 3 comes out. Thank you so much for watching this like hour and a half video. This was the longest video I've ever done on my own, and I think this is the second longest video in the whole channel. The only thing that surpasses it is the 2-hour AOT video, and this was a lot of work. So I'm so happy those of you who made it till the end. Thank you so much. I really appreciated it. This entire season of Solo Leveling was peak, and I'm glad I could bring you guys the story of Ragnarok and what happens later. If you guys want more info, the All Gods and Solo Leveling video is actually a companion video to this video. So if you guys want the entire story of Ragnarok, then watch that video where I explain the universe and the lore of the history more in detail. Once again, thank you so much. Hit that like button and let's try to get this video to at least 10,000 likes. And comment below Esil is a baddie to prove you made it till the end. Thank you once again.